Ladies and gentlemen, I know that when we Africans speak to the world, people usually don't take us seriously. But I'd like to share with you the shocking list of all the countries that should apologize to the Palestinian people for voting in favor of apportioning part of their country, Palestine, to create the state of Israel without the consent of the Palestinian people. It is also time for the world to declare that the heinous Israeli Zionist project and its brutal racist genocidal intent must be ended. As I said earlier, the Palestinian people have never consented to the United Nations summarily apportioning part of their country as a state of Israel. This lack of prior indigenous consent should be put back on the table today, as it is the core fundamental reason why there is conflict ever since the very beginning to this day, and probably into the future. Those of us who know something about conflict resolution are surprised that the world's great democracies are frantically trying to brush this key issue under the rug for decades. Yet we all know, for example, that the lack of consent is what defines rape, for example. That lack of informed consent confirms that the creation of the State of Israel is neither a democratic or humanitarian undertaking, but a brutal, despotic, and tyrannical barbarity fueled by racist ideology and forced upon the Palestinian people by empire. Yet Palestine had nothing to do with the Holocaust against the Jews in the first place. All the countries that voted in 1947 for UN Resolution 181 to create the State of Israel in total disregard of the Palestinian people's objection must therefore publicly apologize today to the Palestinian people. Those countries are, in alphabetical order: Argentina, Australia, Bolivia, Belarusia, Canada, Chile, China, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, Czechoslovakia, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, France, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, Iceland, Liberia, Luxembourg, Mexico, Netherlands, New Zealand, Nicaragua, Norway, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, Philippines, Poland, apartheid South Africa, the Soviet Union, United States, Uruguay, Venezuela, and Yugoslavia. In typical British hypocrisy, Britain abstained from this vote to hide from its crime, yet we all know that Britain is the country from which the entire project originated after signing the infamous Balfour Agreement in 1917, 30 years before this vote, with the racist Zionist movement. In any case, we should demand from all these countries, no matter the form they exist in today, that their leaders offer an official apology to the Palestinian people for that grave historic mistake, and even that they symbolically rescind their vote from this heinous fascist injustice that no country had the right to undertake, as it is not comprised in any article of international law. It is thus the responsibility of each one of these nations to correct their wrong and its continuing consequences, pay restitution to the Palestinian people, and end the death and destruction generated by that heinous 1947 vote at the United Nations, when us in Africa and the rest of the world were still under empire and colonialism. I urge all activists, whichever country you are from, to discuss frankly and diplomatically with all the leaders of these aforementioned countries on this matter whenever possible. Most of them can understand the principle of correcting the historic wrongs of the state and could therefore easily embark on being part of a neglected solution, and even organizing and providing humanitarian aid and diplomacy that restores the life of Palestinians, their peaceful future, the justice they deserve for the tremendous human suffering they have endured, and giving the entirety of Palestine back to the Palestinian people. I urge South African leader Cyril Ramaphosa to start this international apology for an act committed by the brutal South African apartheid regime, for example. And I call on all the other countries to follow suit. In any case, Israelis should just leave the Palestinian people alone, and the world has an undeniable obligation to publicly address the issue of Palestinian consent. Thank you.